So, in this video, we're going to be putting a new relay in one of these EtekCity smart Wi-Fi outlets. So, this is not my first rodeo on these type of things. I think this is the third one I'm putting in. The common fault with these things is that the relay won't click off after a certain amount of time. So, it's been a couple of years. This is my latest one where the relay's not clicking off. So the hardest part of the whole project is getting into it. So first time I did this, I went a little bit too far with the spudger and knocked off some surface mount components. So I want to be careful of how deep you send your spudgers through this thing. And for a side note, since you are going to be prying on this thing, it's not going to look pretty once you reassemble it. You're going to mar and gouge up the plastic. So for these things, I really don't care. If you really are concerned about the looks, try to do it on the bottom side, which is your night light side. So at least when you got it in the core, in the plug, the top side still looks decent. But just a little side note for you to make note of, because it's not going to look pretty when it goes back together, just like my other ones. So the hardest part is getting into these things, and they're not easy to get into. So we're going to start prying and all that other good stuff. But once you start getting it unlocked, wow, that baby's in there good. So sometimes what I like to use is some of these X-Acto blades, these really flat guys. Sometimes you can get into these seams a little bit easier. But like I said, these are not easy to get into, and you're going to mar them up. But if you want to fix them, this is what you're going to have to do. So I know on this particular brand, these are no longer sold by EtekCity, but there's plenty of others. And they probably all have the same construction in them. And probably because they don't sell them anymore is probably because they got a common fault where the relay goes bad on them. So they probably discontinued selling them. Okay, so that's the hard part, getting into it. We didn't mar it out too bad. So here is our prize that we want. So don't lose the little deflector and the little side button here on here. So we'll move that off to the side. And now the tough part is we got to remove the board off the mounts here. So it's been a little while since I've done this. So I think there's a screw here, and I think we have to desolder the pins off the board. Because here is our relay that we want, and all the connections are on the underside of it. So there's one screw here that has to come out. And then one here, which also holds the ground pin in. So that has to come out. And then we got to desolder here and here to get the board out. So I'm going to get the desoldering gun, and we will desolder that and put a brand new relay in. So these can be found on Mauser, and I bought plenty of them because I knew I was going to be doing this project probably throughout all of my relays, smart Wi-Fi outlets in a given amount of time. So I made sure I ordered plenty of extras. So let me get the desoldering and soldering equipment out, and then we'll be right back. So now we're back with the desoldering equipment. So we'll be taking our joints apart here. So we'll get a little apparatus to hold it, because we got nothing flat to hold this with. And like I said, we're going to be taking this and this out, because that's what connects the pins from underneath to that. So we will get some leaded crap in there. So that takes the bulk of it out, but I doubt it's going to pop out, because it's probably still attached a little bit. So we'll have to use some wick. Use my big wick for the big jobs. And some flux to make it work better. Got another bad tip. It's not supposed to go nuclear like that. So I had that happen on a K-tip where the thermocouple goes bad in it. So we got to get a new T15C1. So that one's garbage. Put this somewhere where it won't burn everything down. This guy is a BC2, BCF. Okay, so we're back from nuclear meltdown. So they get some of this more stuff out of here. Okay, that should help a little bit. So see if we can pop this out now. That side's loose. That side's loose. Okay, so that's the hard part. Now we got to take these two pins back here and these 4 pins up here. So there's going to be a lot of solder to remove to get the relay out. Okay. Ow, that's hot. That's the only issue with these particular guns is they get clogged easy. Especially when you suck up all that excess solder. Got some glue holding it in, so we got to pop that out. This should come right out. Just that easy. So now it's just a matter of reassembling this thing. So we got our new relay, and for part number to part number, it's almost the same. But these are a better relay, I would imagine. I would imagine these are almost like a knockoff. So, like I said, the biggest problem with that one is it wasn't clicking off. So that becomes quite annoying when it does that. So we'll put our new relay in. We'll use our old one to hold it while we solder up the connections. So that's that. So now we can put our circuit board back in. So with these two pads for the relay, you got to build up the, rebuild the solder back up because it's going to carry current. So we need to make sure that the connections are nice and beefy. So we want to flood this whole plane with solder. Same thing with this one. Stop short of the through hole for our connector. So when we put it back in, so now it's just a matter of putting our board back in. So with this little part here, we can add a little bit more there. It's just a matter of putting back together. So we can put our screws back in. For our ground. We had our little screw here killing. Okay, now we just gotta resolder our hot and neutral back in and beef up the pads because they're going to carry current. So that takes care of that. So now it's just a matter of putting the cover back on. We're going to put our little deflector in. We'll have him pointing down for the time being. And then our little night light went over this little antenna. Something like that. So we'll put it back in. We got to slide our little night light in a slot. And just line everything up. Make sure our button is happy. Our little LED here for Wi-Fi. There. So now we'll get a little something to test. So we'll get a unplug our desoldering gun, and we'll plug this in. I see that it's still alive because the Wi-Fi light come on. So we'll get our little test rig out here. Get a bulb. So it's got a manual button on the side. So that works. And we'll test the Wi-Fi section. So that works. So that's awesome. So another successful repair of an EtekCity smart Wi-Fi outlet. Like I said earlier in the video, these things are no longer sold, probably because of that fault. It's got a hereditary fault where the relay does not click off. And like I said, I've had several of them. I think this is the third one where the Wi-Fi works as it should, just doesn't shut off, which is annoying when you want it to shut off. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.